Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RC Groups, and today we're looking at the Inductrix FPV Plus. This is another iteration of the Inductrix family. I've owned many of them, and this is the newest one that's a bind and fly, which means you're going to need to provide a transmitter and some way to see what you're FPVing. So let's take a look at this thing, and I guess we'll start with the battery. It's running on a 1-cell 500 LiPo, and you are going to want to buy 2 or 3 of these upon purchase. I am actually using that USB charger, and I rarely use instructions, although I will admit I did get in there to check out how to get my radio bound with the FPV Inductrix Plus. So it's red, video camera, video transmitter, some motors, and we're going to talk about all these things as we progress in this video, where we not only talk about setting up with your DX9, but also we fly it and talk about some of that. So I'm using the Focal DVRs. This is a Horizon Fat Shark branded set of goggles. My favorite. They do a lot of great things, a lot of different things, including having the DVR, which will allow us to shoot what we fly. And once again, go buy yourself some extra batteries. And if you're going to do that, you might look at some upgraded battery chargers. This is the UMX4, and this battery, if you put it in correctly, will fit into this. And not only can you charge the batteries for this Inductrix, but you can charge batteries for multiple different kinds of micro quads. So next, we're going to take a look at the different modes you can get. And with a transmitter like a DX6E or the DX9, you'll be able to go in there via the PDF, which you can find online or in the instructions here, and get things going. But first you need to bind your transmitter to your quadcopter. So what you want to do is get in the acro mode, which I know seems not intuitive, but that is how it works. And then you're going to want to get your battery and your Inductrix FPV Plus. Turn this off. You're ready to go, by the way. And we're going to slide the battery in, and we're going to fire this unit up, and just make sure that your connector is pointing the right way. You can, of course, twist your cable around, but I'm getting this right. Now we're sliding that in, and we're going to plug it in and immediately put it on a flat surface. And when we do, it will say in a very flashy way, I am ready to bind. So those flashing LEDs are begging you to bind it now. So to bind it, of course, you want to grab your transmitter, hold down the bind button, turn it on, watch the screen in anticipation as you realize that, yes, you have bound your transmitter to your Inductrix FPV Plus. Awesome. Now what do? Well, you turn it all off, of course. So what we want to do is turn our transmitter off and unplug our quadcopter. And I do find sometimes that there is a definite order in which you want to turn things back on. I tend to always turn my transmitter on first, since it's broadcasting the signal. And then I'm going to plug in my quad, and then we're going to see if everything works. To arm your quad, all you have to do is press that bind button, and as you can see, the props are spinning. And we're in the air. Awesome. Okay, so the next part you need to know is about the modes, because they are important, especially if you're new. There's an altitude mode, stability mode, agility mode, and then my favorite, the meow mode. Now, you want to get into your PDF and figure out how to set these up on a 3-way switch. So now let's take a look at how you set up your FPV transmitter. There's a button right there. You see I'm depressing with my thumb, and there are small LED lights that you can see in these cutouts. You depress lightly to change a channel. You depress 3 seconds to change the band, and these LEDs will talk to you and tell you which is which. Once again, reference your PDF, get in there. It is all explained, and then you can get in the goggles. One thing I love about my Focal DVRs is they tell me what channel is outputting the strongest signal. And then I can verify that with my LEDs and know that I'm on the right channel every time, which is important. You know, I've had systems where you never knew. Maybe I was on the wrong channel or maybe close to the right channel, and those don't work. The other thing I want to talk about are the LEDs. Now, why would you need a multiple color back LED? And that would be for racing. If you were out somewhere with 3 other guys flying these Inductrix FPV Pluses and you wanted to know who you're actually behind in passing. And so, and I'll say it again, in the PDF there is instructions on how to change these LEDs, and you actually do it with the right stick on your transmitter. So I'm going to move this to the right or the left, and when I do, without blocking my quad here, it will change the color of that LED light. So simple. And so that is how you do that. And you know, I think we've done enough of here's how and what you do. Why don't we take this thing, we'll fly it around the office a little bit, we'll check out the meow mode. I'm going to go out front to a construction zone. They're ripping up my road and took advantage of that closed street. So let's go look at that and take a look at the video, this thing in flight, and all the fun that we can have. Alright, so we're about to head up out of the office here. This is where I do... Oh, did you see that dog run by there? She must have heard the quad fire up and decided it was a good time to get gone. Anyway, this is where all the RC Group's goodness comes from. I figure if I have to sit in the same room for about 10 years, which I have, I should be surrounded by awesomeness, and this is awesomeness. And I also think that if I have a quad, and I really believe in it, I should fly it as close to really expensive antiques and guitars and amps as possible, and that's what you're seeing me do here. But let's move on to some informative information. First of all, let's talk about the power system as I fly into my shop. This is the secondary shop. This is where the big stuff happens, big magic. And as you can see on the table right there, there's an FPV bird getting stuffed and getting ready to go out. The back door is open. It must be nice outside, and we're going to attempt to go up the stairs here in a second. Power system. This has a new power system, and it's fed by a 1-cell 500 milliamp LiPo, and these drive new 8mm brush motors and larger propellers, and I can feel the difference. I have the original Inductrix Tiny Whoop version, then I had a secondary Inductrix FPV, and then I've got this one with the Plus, and the Plus must be referencing the increased power, which I actually could feel outside, which you'll see in a video. Well, you'll see it in this video. Just hang tight and keep watching, and you'll see me flying outside at what I considered in the goggles to be hypervelocity. It was a little... I'm sure it doesn't look that way when you're watching it go by, but in the goggles it feels massively fast. They're saying reliable flight times 4 to 6, and I always felt like I was getting more flight time than I felt like I should be getting, and that's a good feeling. That's better than getting the feeling that your flight times are shorter than they should be. What else? Let's talk about the video cam and the camera. This actually has a 600 TVL camera, which is great, and what I fly on some of my winged craft, so that's saying something. 32 channel 25 milliwatt video transmitter, kind of standard milliwattage for such a device as this. And it has a dipole antenna that is flexible, so you're not going to have to worry about breaking that off. Very cool. And then finally, 140-degree field of view, which, as we all know, and maybe you don't, better field of view is a better way to see what's around you and keep you from crashing into things like the large brown couch or a fan or an antique light bar that I made from Home Depot. Also, we went over the LED lights, so if you wanted to get a pile of these going around the house, not my house, but maybe your house, you could use the LEDs to determine who you're coming up on and who you're about to blow past. And they're durable, and I can attest to that because I have put them through the test. Now, I have a new way of reviewing things, and that is that I don't just get a craft and then review it the next day. And no, what I've been trying to do lately is get something and fly it. And I've had this thing for a couple of weeks, and I have been flying it. So what you're hearing from me is coming from multiple experiences of flying this craft. Now, this is kind of standard procedure. When I get something like this, I do see how far it'll go in the house. And that hallway over there by the Jerry Reed sign is kind of the extent for me, as is the case here. It's 25 milliwatt, and I have flashing in between the floors, and I believe the flashing is what's really messing me up as far as getting all the way to the back of the house, which would be awesome. And now we're going to head on downstairs. Oh, Not before we try to ram into everything possible. Once again, proving the durability here. Let's hit the roof, why don't we? Maybe the counter. And there's the cat. Now, I know at this point I see a cat. I must chase it. The cat doesn't care. That's Jack Black, and he has no interest. So at this point in time, I think it's time to head on back down the stairs, which once again is odd how easy I get up and down the stairs. You would think it would be hard. Well, it's kind of hard. I guess it's hard. And there's a... that's one way to go down the stairs. You could flip right on down. Okay, you know what? Let's get out of the house. You can look at my Danner boots, and then we're going to go in the backyard and get this thing up, going. All right, so we're high in the sky above the back creek, and I'm in, I believe, stability mode, which is one step above altitude mode, which gives you slightly more speed and also kind of keeps you nice and safe, which I guess I felt a little weird. I have literally flown under these bridges before with micro quads, but the water was up a little bit, and I did not feel like losing the ability to shoot any more video by crashing into the water. It's an ancient stone wall, probably made by druids. I don't know where these walls came from. And what a beautiful day. So I do want to point out one thing, and this is just how 5.8 works. This is midday with the sun up, and the video quality is awesome. And when I flew at dusk, the video quality dropped dramatically. In fact, after looking at this, I believe I'm going to try to reshoot my front yard video and see if I can't get a little better quality. So anyway, here's the fun. And by the way, I am flying a tiny quad, half the size of the palm of my hand, in the backyard. Oh, look, I voted against it, evidently. And it's taking whatever wind there is out there and flying great. You know what? I'm going to find a clip of me hauling buttocks in this thing. One moment. Okay, I've flipped her into third gear. And I've got to say, now it looks pretty fast in the video, but in the goggles, you're like, am I really flying a micro quad? Because I feel like I'm flying a race quad here. It really feels fast. And still maneuverable. Of course, it's not, doesn't take the air and thicken it the way it does in altitude mode. But it is hypersensitive and does a great job. So now we'll head to the front yard and see what kind of trouble we can get into there. All right, so it's dusky dark, and as you can see, the sun is parting ways with the day. And the video is less intense, less vibrant, I guess, but so is everything when the sun goes low. And what you're looking at here is they decided to tear the road out in front of my house, which at first seems weird, but now I'm really in love with the fact that no traffic goes up and down the road in front of our house. And it dawned on me that I could fly a quadcopter up the street or down the street because this road is blocked off from one block to the other. Awesome. Right now we're surveying the damage. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That tractor looks like a great thing to start flying around. And so that's what I do. I left this version in, or this piece of video, because of that sky streaking across up there. It looks so awesome. And I'm in careful mode right now as I slowly inch my way underneath the arch. And I think what I'm going to do is cut, and I start getting a little faster in my flying, and we'll take a look at that. It also gets a little darker because the sun is going down as we fly here. The main thing to watch out for in the yard are branches and power lines, and especially power lines. I don't know if you've ever seen something hit a power line. I have. You don't want to do it. So I'm happy to say I do not harm any power lines in this video. Also, I did hit some branches. In fact, somewhere a small child yelled, "Look out for the branch." I never saw the kid. I was like, where is this kid that I just heard? But I did smack into the branch, and the protectors, the prop protectors, kept me from crashing, and I just kept on flying, baby. All right, so let's jump into some other video footage here. Oh, I'm pretty sure I did not just hit that track hoe or whatever that is with my quad. Let's go. And I did talk about the meow mode. You just witnessed it. I landed upside down, hit meow mode, and the dang thing flipped me over. And I will attest that it's super handy. I'm back on the ground. I have to think I'm headed back up. Or I'm checking props. Yes. Make sure your props are pushed down. Sometimes if I hit something or fly through a tree, my props kind of rise up a little bit. So take your finger and push them back down. You don't want them to flutter away in flight. So we're back in the front yard. This is the end of my video, by the way, everyone. I really have enjoyed this. I actually went online and purchased more batteries because I knew that this would be something that I could take anywhere. I could take it to a family gathering full of people that you might have enough. You might be like, I've talked to these people enough. Maybe I should FPV. And so I bought more batteries just for that. Always a testament to how much I like something if I go out and buy batteries to supplement my ability to keep flying them. As you can see, we're in a little faster mode here. I've got my Brave sticks on, and I feel like nothing can touch me, evidently, as I fly through branches, trees, power lines, and down the street. Once again, in the goggles, I felt like that was a blistering speed, like couldn't believe how I actually thought the neighbors must wonder how I can get this thing to go so fast and yet it be so small. I went straight through my head as soon as I thought that. So this has been the Inductrix FPV Plus Bind and Flight Meow Mode. Did you see it? I did it again. Utilizing Meow Mode a lot here in this last video. Really enjoyed it. Super tough. Crashed it into many. When I had it in third gear, I literally turned it on and went full speed into a glass window. And can't believe I didn't break one or the other. But I didn't. That's officially the end of the video right there. Be sure and check it out. Hey, the link to the full review is down below in the description. I'm Jim T. Graham, your host. rcgroups.com is the website. And that is a big green anti-water flooding device. That is all. Go get one. Unless you're not into having fun anywhere you go. Then you don't need one. But if you want to have fun everywhere you go, I would probably get the Inductrix FPV Plus. Bye.